I'm noticing again, like I'm getting to the point where I really need to tighten things down, and like I need to focus on making sure, because it kind of was after my really big up that like I went down. And so I need to make sure this time that I'm up, that I'm still looking at marketing. Like I think I've lagged 2 weeks. My goal was like every single week to do something that I could check off as like a marketing box. And I think I've lagged for like 2 weeks. And so it's like, I need to remember that first lesson so I don't repeat it again.
Welcome to the Web Design Business Podcast with your host, Josh Hall, helping you build a web design business that gives you freedom and a lifestyle you love.
Oh, my web designer friend, I'm so glad to have you here in this one. I'm pumped about this one because the last couple podcast episodes have been with guests who are a little more established in their journeys. A couple episodes back, Kristen was 5 years into her journey. Most recent episode with Jacob, he's somebody who has been in the design world for over almost 2 decades, but you can still learn so much from folks who are early in the journey. And my guest in this one, Megan Fletcher, is a web designer who just crossed her first full year in business and has learned so many lessons. We all know the first year of business in particular is full of highs and lows, ups and downs, amazing days, dreadful days, and everything in between. But Megan has come through it and has so much to share in this conversation about what she did to push through her first year. And now, more recently, she had her biggest revenue month to date at over $8,000 in 1 month, which means if she gets closer and closer to that being an average, she is now on track for this next phase at a 6-figure web design business, now heading into her second year in business. So we're going to talk about all that and more in this one. You can check out Megan's website at meganfletcher.com. We'll get into this, but there is another domain that you might be able to reach her at as well. Some fun stuff ahead. And the show notes for this one are going to be at joshhall.co/377 for all the links we mentioned. But again, first year in business, biggest month to date, a lot to learn from, whether you are brand new in your web design business or if you're still early on, or maybe you're established and want to know what Megan did to get clients because you can do the same. All that and more is covered. So let's have some fun. Here's Megan. So Megan,
Yes.
So good to have you here.
I know.
Officially just over a year, right? Like a year plus of the business now. I figured we kind of dive into all the lessons learned, the ups and downs, the highs and lows. What I have to ask you this because you're kind of you became a web designer and then you became, you're becoming a business owner now.
Yeah.
What has the range of emotions been like? Expected or unexpected?
So it took like a lot of convincing to finally take the leap. I've listened to some of your podcasts before where you talk about just like that personality where you're trying to like make a business, right? And like so many things that I've done in life, I've always like tried, how could I sell this? Like, how could I make money off this thing? So I feel like that mindset has always been there, but I've never nurtured it. I've always just assumed like, go to college, get my degree and get the job and all of that. And so it has been like a whirlwind to kind of dive into owning everything on your own and like being responsible for all the facets of communicating with the clients and doing the back end and doing the administration. Like everything has just been such a learning curve, but like to feeling like you're failing, imposter syndrome, to like the highs of like closing out deals and just feeling like a stud, like just everything.
Yeah, like literally every mix of emotion was in there. It is funny. It's so cool to see what you've done in this first year, because we just had a coaching call on Pro and we were joking about this, but you went from like, I was so pumped up about your recent update because I just knew, I could tell with you, if you just stuck with it and had some persistence between that, a couple slow periods and dry client pipeline periods. I was like, you've got it. You just got to keep on going. And then one of your recent updates was, best month to date, a plus year in the business. Now you're swamped. Now you're actually like, what do I do with all this work? It can change and happen so fast.
I know you've always been like the like motivation, like behind everything. I remember when I first signed up for pro and I was like, if I could just make $1,000 a month, I think we could survive. And you're like, easy. And I'm like, okay. Okay. What? Okay. So, and then just like getting to the end of the year and like through the hard times, and you're just always like, it's going to like, it'll pick back up, like take this slow moment to kind of work on different pieces that like you won't be able to when you're really busy. And you know, it's hard to like see it when you're in it, but then like now, like hitting that 1 year mark just a couple weeks ago and like having some maintenance contracts renewing, and like, you're just like, oh shoot, it really does just like snowball and like get easier as you get like a reputation with people. You know, people I don't know are handing out my information, like the referrals. I'm like, who'd you hear about me from? And they're like, Rebecca. And I'm like, I don't know a Rebecca, but awesome, you know? And so it's just been really cool to like watch it grow. And I don't know, you just like, you put your head down and you keep working and you're following like your best practices that you're giving us. And then you're choosing not to listen at times, you know, and, you know, learning the hard way. But I think it's all part of the process.
I'm like grinning from ear to ear just because I feel like you're a different person now from a year ago. Like in a lot of ways, it's interesting because you've been really active in pro. You've been really engaged with our like weekly coaching calls and our hot seats. And yeah, we worked through a lot of this stuff in the beginning, but I really do see like a confidence and stability in you that is not always the case even after a year. I mean, you've had some awesome wins and you're coming off your best month. I mean, as you just mentioned, your goal was 1,000 a month and you just had an 8K plus month. Now we're looking at, you're on track for a 6-figure business. So it is really cool to see, like, I know we're going to get into what has led you through this year, but to see where you are right now, Megan, I just want to publicly say like, it's freaking awesome. I'm so pumped for you.
It is really cool to like, I don't know. You look at people who start businesses and you're just always like, I don't know if that's me. Like, I don't know if I'm strong enough to do the hard times and say the hard things. So that's been part of like the things that I've had to learn is, you know, kind of setting boundaries with people, but just like realizing that I can has been pretty awesome.
So let's back up real quick. What were you up to right before you got into web design and decided to take it seriously? What was your, you know, career trajectory in your life looking like?
Yeah. So I have a degree in computer science and engineering. And so I worked at General Electric as a software engineer right out of college. But then I got married and moved to like a small or like agricultural town. And so finding software engineering jobs was pretty difficult, especially with like the tech stack I knew. I didn't really know the newest stuff. So it became really difficult. That was like my first wake up call. Like I thought with a degree in software engineering, you'd just be set for life, but there's definitely like even avenues there where people just want to see like certain languages and stuff. So I ended up in IT, and I was not even doing engineering in IT. I was just doing like business stuff. And so I was pretty miserable. And then I convinced my boss to send me to a UX conference. And that was kind of like my first taste at designing, because in college, a little back there, I wanted to do like 3D modeling was kind of what I wanted to do with software engineering. I wanted to get into game design and stuff, and I never did. But I always loved art and math. And that was like always something like when I wrote my scholarships for college, like it was always like trying to play up on like, I use my right and left brain because I love math and I'm good at art and like things like that. And I just kind of lost that. And then eventually through this like miserable job, got to go to this awesome conference and kind of re-explore the idea of like using my like logical abilities and my art stuff together. And so that's kind of where I started doing that. I found a mentor who worked at a junior college in town who kind of gave me some stuff to look into for web design and building out again. So I built my HTML site and just landed the job at the college for being their front end web designer. And that was really fun for a while, but kind of got capped out like at a certain point. Cause it's one school, there's only you could go redo pages and things like that, but you're never like redesigning. And so my brother-in-law started a business in Alabama, and he was like, hey, like, can you build me a website? And so I just did the research. I landed on Elementor and WordPress and built him a website. And I was like, that was awesome. Like getting to do the whole process, design and launch, and then thinking like, this is an actual viable business instead of like sewing baby clothes, which I had done before, which like is fun, but like you can't make a ton of money on them, but like actually a real business making websites is feasible. So that was like the first little.
And when was that, when you did that website was your brother-in-law? Is that right? Yeah.
That was back in 2021, I think.
Okay. So you had a few years of designing sites and everything, and enjoy like learning web design, enjoying the industry a little bit.
Yeah. And then my husband was kind of like, believed in me, but nervous. And so he's like, can you kind of do some work with it part-time to figure out like, can this be like a real thing? And so I spent probably 6 months seriously before jumping into full-time, just spreading the word. And my husband actually was like my number one marketing person. Like he got me a lot of my first clients, and then we just figured like, okay, let's do it. And so it was time, and we ripped the Band-Aid off and I dived in. So
is his name Josh too? Is that right?
No.
Is your husband's name Josh? Who am I thinking?
It's Ryan.
Ryan, sorry.
Tamara's husband's name is Josh, though.
Yes. Yeah. There's a couple pros who have husbands' names Josh. So
I know she was like said that earlier, and I was like, wait. Oh,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I just say, listen, got to have some quality advice if it's coming from a Josh. Yeah. So Ryan's good too. Ryan's good advice. Yeah, though that makes sense. So when did you commit to making it I'm going to go for it, to when you joined pro, just so I can have some context of kind of where you were at?
I was probably in the midst of like, it was like kind of the start. I found you at the start of like, hey, like come up with a business plan, like write things out, and like actually look at the numbers and look at like the feasibility. And so I started looking for podcasts, and I didn't know what else to Google. So I just literally Googled web design podcasts, and like, yeah, here we are. So, and I just listened, and it was only like, it was in December because my sister was having a baby. And so I took a 4-hour drive when she called and said like, her water broke, and I took 4 hours, downloaded some podcasts, and yours was one of them. And then like during that drive, like I was like, this is awesome. Like I need to look at what his business thing is. And I think it was like New Year's Day or something that I decided to sign up for it. So
heck yeah. So you had, you're at that place where you had had some fun with it. And most importantly, you enjoyed design. You got your tool stack. Mm-hmm. What other types of jobs had you done in between that? Was it just occasional work with family, friends, and from your husband and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was probably just referrals from my husband. It was my family member. And then it was actually, like two companies from my husband's, just his network. And then one of them was like from a Christmas party that we had gone to, and, it was in the midst of like thinking about taking it live. And so my business had been established probably like September of that prior year. And so during that business Christmas dinner for one of his clients, I was just like, yeah, I do website design, and like, we need that. And so like, they were one of my ones that like I was signing on just as I was like putting in my notice to leave my job. So like just all that little storm. Yeah.
Did the fun of designing websites change at all for you when you like made it serious as a business? Or did you have to catch that?
I think it's still like my favorite part. I know, when the family goes to bed, like if I've got a design to work on, like I can stay up working on it, and it doesn't feel like I'm working at night. Like that's still the part that I enjoy the most. It's probably just like the content, but gathering content from people, that is probably the least favorite part now.
Yeah. That's awesome. I only ask because I do find when somebody commits to it and then there's pressure behind it and financial, anything, when you attach money to it, it generally I found you have to be pretty proactive with like making sure you still have fun and enjoy it. Otherwise the stress of making it a business can take over pretty easily.
I would say there is probably a piece of that, but it comes when we have to go through iterations of design. When I would say most of the time it's like the first thing, they're done, they're good, we move on. But it's, if I have to like go through iterations and I feel like I can't grasp like a client and I can't just like hit it out of the park like the first try, that's kind of when my like dread comes in and I start feeling like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not good enough to do this. So like things like that. So
time to pass that on to the VA then, or the junior designer once you get past the first stage. I think, by the way, I think psychologically, I think that's the reason, because at first it's like the ball's in your court. You can just design the way you wanted to based off of the requirements and stuff. And then if the client loves it, awesome, win, win, win. Right. But if the client doesn't love it or wants a bunch of changes or iterations, then it's like you're kind of taking their lead, and it feels different than when like you have the lead. Yeah. But hey, growing pains. So you had like, you had your design shop, and this is important too. I wanted to make sure we got some context on this, because 1 year officially in business doesn't mean that you just started building sites
from scratch and never seen it before. Yeah.
So you already had the craft. I mean, because I could tell right out of the gate, I was like, okay, this is not like when you came in pro and I saw your website, V1, I was like, okay, this is not a 2-month designer. Like, you've obviously had some design experience, you had some UX experience. But as far as the business goes itself, here's what's really interesting. And that is like officially getting clients and officially marketing. Yeah. So what did you do? I mean, I know some of this because we've been, coaching together for a while, but what did you do initially to get, like, as you took this seriously? What was like the first couple months of getting clients for you, apart from just the occasional family referrals?
My husband was a big part of it. Just with his network and stuff, sharing it. And then, but also just sharing that, you talked about it in pro, sharing it on Facebook in your business course. So I had gone through the business course as I was going through all this and trying to follow some of the steps and tips that you gave. And so just launching the business, creating all the social medias and sharing it to friends and family, like putting it on my professional one and then sharing the professional post on my personal one. And just a lot of traction from there, and just getting the word out that way. And just a lot of people excited and supportive of it. Tons of my friends and family shared it. And so it reached like a good chunk of the area. And that was like a huge boost at the beginning, was just getting that information out there. And then your shirt was I landed one of like my big client, my best client, honestly. Like I still want to make him something for just how awesome he was, like some polo, because I did his logo too, and I flew to Hawaii and like took photos for his website, and like it was amazing, right?
How did I not know about that?
That's amazing. It was so cool. Like, he's my vet, and he runs a conference for veterinarians, and I took my dog in wearing your shirt, like total mess, like, hair in a bun, no man. I'm just like, I can take him on walks more because I run my own business. He's like, web design? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I might need to talk to you. And then just like one of my best clients ever. So, and I got to go to Hawaii for the first time. Something you never get in like a 9 to 5.
I'm going to put that on the pro swag. So for anyone who doesn't know, in Web Designer Pro, we have a bunch of swag. We have t-shirts, long sleeves, and all kinds of stuff. And I got a lead from wearing mine. I mean, you wear a shirt that says Web Designer Pro, people are going to see that. And I'm going to put, maybe you'll end up in Hawaii like Megan. So that's a great sales tool, but that's freaking awesome. I mean, there are just so many ways to get clients. I was so ecstatic when it actually worked for you too.
I know. I try and think about it every time I go to like a doctor's office, like, cause I'm like, I know they've got the funds to like get a website. So I'm going to wear my shirt today.
There you go. Yeah. Wear a Web Designer Pro shirt at the, golf courses or anywhere that's got money.
You need some polos if we got to take it to the golf course though.
Do not wear a pro shirt at the fair. That is not where you want to get your ideal.
I don't know.
Well, that's really cool. But tell me this, Megan, am I remembering this correctly in that it's like a roller coaster where it like goes up and then it either goes down or plateaus for a while. I do remember a bit of a dry spell after the initial excitement period.
Yeah, it was actually after the big client. I think I got just kind of settled and happy with the workload I had. I had a couple websites going and I just stopped marketing. I stopped trying to do it because it makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like asking people or pitching to people. It just, it's really difficult for me. It feels like I'm burdening them. So that was a really hard lesson that I just stopped completely. I was comfortable with the workload I had and I was just working on websites and doing nothing else to like further the business side of it. I even stopped like kind of maintaining the tasks I was working on. It was just like getting up and like working on the website I knew I had to work on and not really thinking about like all of the little different pieces and things like that. And so that was what led into, I think, like 3 months where I just felt like I hadn't got any new clients. And it was frustrating because it's like, I feel like you had said, what I need to do. My husband was even like, you need to work on marketing. And it's just, I didn't want to. And so I was kind of stubborn about it. But just, I had to slowly put those pieces back into place. And I feel like it just takes time. And I think I didn't have that lag from the beginning because I had been working and doing the marketing. And so it always started off with clients on board. And so I never like that, the dry part of starting it was never there because I was still working and like getting a paycheck. So I didn't notice it when like I first got the wheel spinning and then I let it dry up and then I had to like restart it, which just took time.
I think that's really common though, especially for folks. When you start a business, there is excitement and there's a buzz and people can feel that too. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, you didn't come out of the gate in like a big salesy mode, but just the word got out that you were doing this. But as soon as you get a workload built up and as soon as you start to go into like hibernation mode, which is not uncommon for most web designers because we like to do our work and we like to have fun and do the stuff, do the crap. Yeah, a lot of introverts. So it is very common to get to that point where suddenly you're just doing the work. But then as we talked about, and I think now you're on the other side of things now to where like we're encouraging other pros and Web Designer Pro to be like, don't turn the sales engine off. Like you can't turn your marketing off completely because it does catch up to you pretty quick until you get to the point where honestly you're at now to where you have a network that's built, growing and expanding. And then referrals start to come in and you can do less like outbound marketing and just more like, circling back around with your current network.
Right. And just serving everyone well. I feel like trying to go above and beyond like this first year with everyone that I have and just like really making sure that they love me in everything that I'm doing has been huge. That this now at like the year mark, people are handing out my number that I don't even know.
Like you mentioned, you're like, who the hell is Rebecca? Yeah, I don't know how you found me, but awesome.
Right. So it is cool but it's so hard when you can't see that you're doing something and something is happening. Like now I'm seeing it from what I was doing last year, but like last year I like wasn't really seeing it doing anything and it just takes time. So just like to be patient, like would be a piece of advice I would give. Just like keep doing it and just like keep working through. Even if Tamara and I had a really awesome conversation. She's just one of the people I've connected with really well from Pro, which is another great part of Pro is just finding someone doing what you're doing that like you can have like celebrate the good times with and celebrate the hard times with and like get advice from and stuff. But we kind of have this like, I don't know, goal that if we can't do the little things well, like how are we ever going to get to the bigger things? So it's like when we're down, like, and don't have much going on, making sure to get up and like do our laundry. I know it sounds silly and simple, but like do our laundry, do the dishes, like just do the little things, whatever little business things there are, just like trying to explore and do that. But just making sure don't like let the depression or the defeat like get a hold of you. Like just keep walking through the little things and that's how you're going to get back to more of the big things. Cause when you get down in the dumps, you're like, oh, I can't anymore. And so you just like stop doing everything. And so just getting up and like moving just one little piece at a time.
That is such sage advice. There's a lot of benefit with momentum in things that you can control. Like you can't control always if a client is going to move forward, but you can do all you can. But you can control, like you just mentioned, Megan, your habits, the mundane stuff of working on the business, running your numbers, doing the marketing that you usually do. Anything I feel like that you could do on a consistent basis, week to week. For me, I've talked a lot about it. It's just, I showed up to my networking group every Friday, 7:30 a.m., rain or shine, good weeks, bad weeks. I mean, I remember when we found out our daughter was going to be a special needs kiddo. I mean, I just I wanted to just stop everything for a little while to process that, but we just kept on going like that. Really, any little bit of momentum that's consistent, I couldn't agree more. It really is key because it doesn't take too long sometimes before you do get a win. And then the wins can start to compound too, which is, I know what you eventually got to. I don't know how long your dry spell was, but I'm trying to remember, because I remember we had a coaching call and we talked about other marketing avenues. Did you ever do anything in other cities or other towns or anything SEO?
I did a little bit, but nothing ever came from So I went one time to the nearest chamber is like 30 minutes away. So I started attending, like I paid to be a member, and they have like the worst emailing system and they never email me when a meeting's coming up. And so every time I remember to go look, like I just missed it. So I've been like one time, but they did post my business on their socials. And so I probably got some visibility there. But I have a small group in town that I go to, and it's really small businesses that for the price of web designs that fully custom that we do, they're not really my ideal clients because they're really small, just little shops, So but I still keep going, and just to have like the relationship and the camaraderie with other business owners in my town. And so I don't know if Rebecca maybe came to one of those meetings maybe that's where Rebecca came from. I really don't know. Cause like random people come in and out of that. So it could have been something like that, but just, even though it doesn't feel really fruitful, I still try and make an effort to like go. It's not like BNI where you're kind of promised a reward, cause that's the whole point of BNI is like working really hard to get referrals and give referrals. It's more of just like a camaraderie thing that we have in town.
So how long, we don't need like exact days or anything, but how long, because you had a big buzz when you started your business, had some visibility, did marketing in a way that worked for you with just getting your name out there, a lot of family, friends, your husband was a big part of that. Landed an awesome client, freaking get to go to Hawaii. But then that dry spell happens because of all the reasons we mentioned. How long was it before, like how long did you have to endure that very painful dip before you had a win?
I think it was the full third quarter, 3 months before I landed it. And then it was the fourth quarter that things started to pick back up. And it was partly maybe because of the client that I went to Hawaii with, because I handed my business card out to the other vet practices there. So I got 2 clients from him, essentially going to Hawaii and meeting those other clients of mine now. But yeah, it was really small stuff. I finished, looking back when I did the year-end recap for you, and I went through each month and put the numbers together of what happened. There was really only 1 month where all I made was like the one maintenance plan that's on monthly of mine. But the rest still had maybe like a project closing where I did like have some kind of income, but it just felt like yuck. Like nothing was happening, even though like there was still work happening in closing. So that was kind of a cool perspective. Cause like for 3 months I felt like a failure. But like looking back at the end of the year, it's like there was still stuff happening there. And like, it was just like a bad mindset too, of like letting myself think that I was just not doing a good job.
I think too, your like compass of success, whatever that means, gets skewed when you're on a high and things are clicking, And I found this with Pro because, I have good days and good weeks and bad days and bad weeks with renewals or subscriptions or signups. And I found that when I have a lot of signups in the period of a week or two, I'm like, it is on, things are clicking. The Pro iron is hot right now. But then the next couple weeks, if just for whatever reason, there's less signups, or it seems like that happens, there's less signups and a few people may leave or something. And it's just like, I still go through those waves too, to where it's like, it just messes. I think success sometimes messes with your metric or your compass of like, maybe that's not normal. Maybe the first couple months of your business was not the normal, trajectory. Like that would be hard to keep up with, quite frankly. So it was actually probably like above what would be a little more normal. So being that you went below what was normal, it probably felt even more so like,
right. Like,
what happened? What happened?
Yeah, exactly.
What was the wind? What was a win? Did you land like a big project heading into Q3? Do you remember last year? Do you remember feeling like, oh, all right, I feel better? Was there something that happened?
Right at the start of I think even the start of Q4 was starting to not do much, but then I got to go to Hawaii and feel that little buzz of just like excitement. And we got to go on a trip to Iceland, me and my husband. So I think also just getting that break to like get away and just see something really stunning and beautiful and kind of reset me mentally. And then I think two vets from the conference got a hold of me, and I did an audit because there was like a raffle at the conference and he gave me like a booth. So I did a free website audit and there were some winners. I sent out those emails, and then to anyone who was in attendance, he gave me his email list, and I sent out like a 50% off of a website audit, which I made up because I didn't actually have one before then. So
I have an audit.
Yeah, I got a service for you.
How much did you quote unquote charge for your audit at that point? Did you just make up was it like $99?
Yeah, it was like $250, and so like to do a half off one was like $125 or something.
Awesome.
But I got a couple bites on that. So it was just like little things, and then. One of the little wins was from the newsletter. You said to kick off a newsletter, which I still don't do monthly. I'm not a newsletter reader. And so it's really hard for me to send out a newsletter because sometimes like when people email me too much, I'm really tempted to hit unsubscribe.
You do quarterly, just like a quarterly pop.
Right. Like something a little less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I need to do that because I did get a small win from one of my past clients from a newsletter. I voluntold everyone, my past clients, that they were now on my newsletter. And it was just about, I don't even remember what my first one was about, but, and then he just asked for like a small graphic design job for like a flyer. And so it was just kind of something easy that helped during that dry spell and just kind of reminded me that I think you have your wall of wins. I need to build mine now that I've kind of got some good wins and some good client stories to like look at, because I think during that like low point, you also think like, maybe I'm just not good at this. And you let like that get to your head. And then when that guy came back and like asked for me to do more work for him, I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't do a bad job. Like they did appreciate what I did. Like I do have a talent.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah. The wall of wins. I mean, I can't recommend enough that everybody, even on a literal small scale, like if you have 3 testimonials, print those out or get them somewhere in vision, whether it's on a wall or on your desk. I mean, a lot of pros, we did that challenge last year about creating one. There was all different types of them. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. You're on there, Megan, on my wall of wins. You may be on there twice. I've got a couple repeats on there just because you're a testimonial machine, but it's so helpful in those times. I really can't stress enough to everyone to, just, even if you just look at your testimonials on your website, because it's so easy to go to those dark places when things are just not clicking and not going well. I mean, I know you've heard me talk about this, but like, and we're going to be meeting in person here soon at our Web Design Pro conference. I can't wait for that, especially for people who maybe are in that drive spell, because like you just alluded to, you get re-energized when you literally change your state and like go somewhere. And when you meet colleagues or friends, or especially clients, like when I got to meet Web Designer Pro members, Sandy and Alexis and Lauren and everybody, they were telling me these stories in April, and man, Austin, I was hearing these stories that I never knew about. And that just like totally reinvigorated me. I was like, okay, it's fine. What I'm doing works. I just need to market better. I just need to tell more people about it and be a little more thoughtful. So, yeah, the next time you do experience a dip in any regard, I don't think it'll be near as bad as what you went through because your network is already to a certain place, but it will help. So I'm really excited to see what yours looks like here.
It is funny how our mind can just like so quickly turn negative. I landed like the biggest month ever. And then the next month I have 2 clients that are somewhat challenging me. And I get I got another new client with these other 2 that are challenging me, and I knock his out of the park like instantly. But like these other 2, the ones that are sticking in my head, be like, I just don't know if I could do that. Like, I'm just not good at it. It's just so even after like a huge win, like I could still go back to like being like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like the universe has a way to humble you when you get a little bit of success. Cause it's like biggest month ever. By the way, here's a client out of their boundaries. Yeah. Not uncommon either. That, did you listen to, actually this week is the episode, is the podcast that we're recording this, that Steve shared about how he lost over 6,000 of MRR in 1 week.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet.
So it's basically what you just said. He had like a mix of like landing some of his best clients, also losing over 6,000 a month in MRR. And you're just like the emotions, the absolute roller coaster of emotions as a business owner. I will say it does tend to level out. I found as you build your base and you become more and more confident. I mean, as I said in the beginning, like you're like a different person. Now just think about Megan in 26. You're going to be like version 3.0 and it's going to be nuts, like there is a sense of like
castle and the mansion in the sky. I don't know.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, more Iceland, a castle in Iceland. Really, but it really does. It seems like the highs and lows are less drastic at a certain point, unless there's like a massive pivot or change in your business or something like that. But the average like challenges of client stuff, I mean, those just tend to improve as you dial in your systems and you're even getting more and more confident with like your boundaries and your communication, it seems like. So I don't foresee, like the exact dry spell you went through happening again, which is good news. But
it grows just organically if you continue to just work at each little piece and work on it. I feel like now I'm noticing again, like I'm getting to the point where I really need to tighten things down and like I need to focus on making sure, because it kind of was after my really big up that like I went down. And so I need to make sure this time that I'm up, that I'm still looking at marketing. Like I think I've lagged 2 weeks. My goal was like every single week to do something that I could check off as like a marketing box. And I think I've lagged for like 2 weeks. And so it's like, I need to remember that first lesson so I don't repeat it again and like keep on doing all the pieces.
No, that's wonderful. What did you do? So, I mean, it seems like during that dry spell, you were still, like you mentioned, at some point you got out of bed literally probably and like just carried on, did the consistent stuff. You had some work, you had some maintenance plan stuff going on. Started to do a little more marketing, but when the turnaround started to happen in Q4 of 24, did you do anything different, or was it just a matter of like all the work you had done to that point just compound and it's not uncommon either for the beginning of the fall to be a really active month for web designers because businesses are often, it's a big time for web designers, especially if businesses want to get their budgets cleared out by the end of the year. So yeah, what was, in short, what was that like the beginning of the rebound? Like, yeah, what the heck happened, Megan?
What happened? I wish I knew. I think it was just continuing to network and like, I think everyone, you've always mentioned like everyone kind of has that one client they've had that's like really almost like a mentor of a client and just like is really awesome. And so I think that being my Vets Hawaii client and getting networking there and getting some more exposure. And then another client who I had done a website before and they have a few businesses, and I'd kind of messaged throughout the year as being like, hey, like, I've got space if you're ready to take on another one of these sites. And they just kind of never got back to me. And so, that adding to like, oh, maybe they didn't like what I did. And at the end of the year, they're like, we just love our website. We're ready to do the next one. So it's timing for some people. And but you take that as like they don't say like, we're just not ready. To me, well, I'm not ready right now means like, we don't like you instead of like, they're really just not ready yet, you know?
Yeah, because clients aren't always on our timetables. Like we may have room and capacity and want to land a few more jobs, but yeah, clients may be like, yeah, we'd like to do that, but not right now. So but the seeds you planted, and this is the most important thing, I think like the theme of this is the amount of seeds that you were planting during that whole year, from the outset of it with the buzz that you had starting the business, making connections, and even just the things you were doing, all those little touches, a newsletter here or there, the reach outs, occasional social media stuff, the personal reach outs with current and past clients. I mean, all those things, they do really compound. And here we are. Now you're slammed. So
hey, it works.
It works. It does work. It just takes time sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a plan right now too, because I had a friend of mine who got me a client from Nevada, where I grew up, and I'm having a total brain fart.
So the client in Nevada, where you grew up.
Yeah.
Did you reach out to them, or how did that go?
My friend, his message was, hey, are you still doing the web stuff on the side? And I'm like, I've been doing it for a year now, full time, man. Like, and I talk to you like at least once a month, not like about, more like about video games and things, nothing like we don't get into personal stuff all that often, but it was just kind of reminded me like, when I hit my year, like I need to do another post and share it on my personals to remind like friends and family that like, hey, I'm still doing this. Cause I know you had, I think, mentioned sometimes we kind of keep an eye on it and make sure like, is this going to be a real thing? Like, are they actually going to keep doing it? And so now that like I have a successful year, like I want to reiterate it to my network again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's such a great point. Yeah. Like, well, first of all, being in a business, being in your own business, or, you know, building your own business for a year is a huge milestone. Most people don't even make it that far. So that is something to celebrate and shout off the Californian mountaintop for sure. Get it out there. And you're totally right. I mean, it makes sense. I understand. Like if I was going to invest several $1,000s, maybe tens of thousands of dollars, and have somebody, you know, be my partner in crime for the web stuff, I would want to make sure they're going to be around, or at the very least that they have a network behind them, like Web Designer Pro, or, you know, like a plan of action if they do stop it, so they don't just ghost and disappear, which is all too common for web designers. And yeah, it makes total sense that like somebody's going to be like, yeah, I'm interested, but let me see if you actually stick with. I mean, how many times, I'm sure you've experienced this too, where like friends from high school, they're in some new like MLM program and they're selling.
Hey, can we get coffee sometime?
Yeah, can we get coffee? Yeah. Oh, you want me to join your scheme? Yeah. And then the next year they're on a different one. It's like, I mean, I do think that's important because a lot of people are seeing that, and they may not make the distinction between us as a web business owner and somebody like that who just gets involved in an MLM kind of business setup. So yeah, for all those reasons and more, it's celebration time. But for you, Megan, like you don't need to market and say like, hire me. You can just say, first year in business, we built this many sites. These are some of the sites we did. Yeah. I mean, that's like fun marketing.
I was joking with my mom because my brain said it was in April was going to be my 1 year. And I went back, like searched like my posts in Pro, trying to figure out like when the heck, like I'm sure I said something when I did. And it was this month, March 8th, that it was like the 1 year. And it was like 2 days before March 8th that I went and Googled, like found that. And I was like, I had like all these ideas that I wanted to do. I was like, well, it's 2 days away now. And my mom's like, just still post it late and be like, I'm so busy, I missed it.
Yeah, there we go. That's wonderful marketing. I was too busy. I missed my first year.
Yeah.
I hope I see that. Because I think I follow your Facebook. Where are you active on the socials? Is it Facebook for you, LinkedIn, Insta? Are you a TikTok gal? Are you on all these video game
TikTok
streaming services?
It would be an interesting way to market it, huh? But Facebook and Instagram mostly, because I think it's just easy, like two birds with one stone. When I make one thing for the other, it's on both. LinkedIn occasionally, like I try and write something cool for LinkedIn, and so those three are the ones I focus on. My tag was too long for Twitter, so I didn't even bother. Like I was like, if I can't get it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, now's definitely not the time to spend time on X anyway. And it's kind of more from what I'm not terribly active on it, but a lot of people I know who used it for business purposes it's very political now. So it seems like no matter where you are, I think you're fine. You have enough with Facebook, Instagram, and some LinkedIn for sure.
And I know some people have success with social media. So I'm like, that's going to be a marketing try. One, just to understand it, because clients ask a lot about social media, and I have right now no intention of doing that myself, because honestly, it's like draining for me. It's not something that brings me any kind of joy. And so just to understand it so I could give any kind of tips to clients, just because I feel like it's all a part of web presence. And so just being able to arm myself with more knowledge to help clients just gives me more value. But I'm just trying to like learn how to do it in a minimal way that's not like we have a day of recording videos for a whole month. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, not alone there. What you just mentioned, the areas of things that give you joy or drain you. Like, what are the areas that do give you joy? And looking back at this first year, what are like the parts of projects and the part of being a web business owner that give you joy?
I love the discovery sessions and like getting to sit down with a business owner and just talk about their business and the things that they're needing and maybe struggling with. And I think as web designers, if you're really willing to kind of put in the work during like those hard seasons, I don't know how we can fail, because we literally sit down with other business owners and we hear about like successes and issues that everyone's having, and they're all same in just different industries. And so we get like exposure to watch people go through them and overcome them, and being able to apply that. Like when I meet with someone else, I'm like, well, have you thought about doing this? And just being able to like, we're like a sponge for like all sorts of businesses. And like, we're like the AI for business. Right? Ask me a question, I'll tell you, use a newsletter. That sounds good for you. Even though I don't really do newsletters.
Nicely done. Your branding and copy.
I know. I got to get with Michelle. I can't do copy. That's another area that drains me. And SEO, they just don't connect in my brain. But getting to sit down and talk about business with someone, and then designing and even building is really fun for me. So
you like strategy, design, probably code development, the building aspects of things. And then what about do you find joy in the results? Do you find joy when things are live? And then most importantly, seeing results of clients having results?
I
and it is okay if you don't, by the way, because a lot of people, because a lot of people just want to get things started and they're like, that's all I want to do. And that's
get it off my plate. I'll probably sit and stare at like a finished website for like way too long. And I just like scroll through and like click around all the pages so many times. I do a lot of home renovation projects too. And it's like the same. I will literally sit in a doorway and just like stare at it. It's just like a project that's finished. So it's the same thing with the website.
Hey, that's great though, because a lot of web designers get it done. They're like, I'm never looking at that again. I'm done.
There's clients that make me feel that way.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it does depend on what kind of project it is. I feel that same way when I mow my lawn. I'm that aspiring lawn weenie who's looking at the lines. I'm just like,
you look at it like, wow.
That was good. That's
like next time I'll do zigzags. It'd be great.
Yep, always. I did buy lawnweenie.com. I can't believe I did. I got that domain last year. I can't believe it was available. Just in case, I'm going to hold on to it because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
A Midwest term or something? Because I've never heard it before.
Oh, you're not familiar with that? Is that a Midwest thing? Lawnweenie.com or Lawn Weenie? Yeah, that's what we're called lawn weenies, at least here in Ohio. I can't believe that's not national. No. How is that not national?
West Coast is, I don't know. I'll have to ask some other
Yeah, what's the West Coast term?
A lawn dad. I think it's just
lawn dad?
Yeah, I think it's just like dads.
Hold on, let me ask ChatGPT real quick. Let's see. Is the term lawn weenie national? I can't believe I just assumed that everyone knew what lawn. No wonder that domain was available. It's probably just popular around here.
Hey, local SEO, you'll score big, you know.
There we go. Sam will help me out with really taking Lawn Weenie to the local SEO. So outside of its literary reference, Lawn Weenie does not appear to be commonly used in American vernacular. Tisk tisk. It will now after this show. Therefore, Lawn Weenie is not nationally recognized. Its usage is largely confined to, I guess there's a book series that talks about it. This is pish posh. We're going to make it. We're going to make it happen. Anywho, derailed us, but that idea of like examining your work and I think most importantly, celebrating it. Like, have you celebrated either projects or just your year as a whole? Have you done anything to, apart from just reflecting like you did last year, or looking at last year? Do you celebrate or are you just a worker and just like to get going?
I think it'd be fun to celebrate it and like do things. I bought myself stuff, like the business stuff, like a really nice new camera from earning different, hitting different budget goals and stuff. So I've celebrated in that way, but actually like going on like a fancy dinner or something, like not really. I would love to celebrate some of my favorite clients from last year by, I don't know, getting them some kind of like swag or like shirt made with like an embroidery of, I don't know, just theirs or like something with our stuff together. I haven't figured it out yet, but I would really love to just thank some of those people that put their trust in me in that first year. Because it got me here,
I love that idea. Oh my gosh. Yeah. As your coach, I mean, get going on that as soon as you can. That sounds wonderful. And then you can really do that around the same time as an official post on all your socials and a newsletter about celebrating the first year. Yeah. And I mean, even like the first year thing, it's up to you whether you'd want to talk to clients about that. Otherwise, if you want to make people feel like you don't want them to know it's your first year in business, then
I know that's what I was like. But I feel like everyone I did work with knew that I had just started, because that was like my hesitation for a while. I was like, do I want to say like, thanks for trusting me with in my first year? And they're like, I'm sorry, what? But I'm pretty sure everyone knew, because like my vet knew it was a new thing for me, and my husband pitching it to like a couple of those people that were really instrumental all knew that I was just starting out, because they had like of a personal relationship,
Yeah. And also it's the first year of the business. It's like, first of all, you don't say first year, you can say anniversary, like the first anniversary. It's the anniversary of your business. It doesn't mean that you didn't know what you were doing leading up to that. You have been designing for quite a while, but that's a different frame. I think you could probably put on that to just make it like a fun anniversary.
And even just anniversary of full time, I thought maybe, because I've been doing it on the side for a while, and so maybe they won't be like, oh, she just worked on the side for a long time. That's
true. Tell me about branding too. You've branded. We had some fun in pro with this recently. You branded off of your name, just meganfletcher.com, but you had expressed to me interest in like, should I make this a business name at some point? Where are you at with that? What's your thoughts about branding?
I would love like a business name. I don't know, Megan Fletcher Design. I can't even put like web designer underneath because it already says design in it. And so I feel like there's a lot of restrictions with what I picked. Like it got me my bank account really easily because it was just my name. But now it's just like trying to do fun stuff with it. It just feels like it's lacking. So I would love to rebrand and do something that's a little bit different. And I listened to that naming podcast you had like a while back, and I took the quiz with a couple of mine, not the newest idea, but with some other ideas I had.
This just shows how professional we are in pro, because we had a coaching call and we were thinking about like, could you put your initials there? And then it became MF or design, which look, is memorable. It is memorable. And didn't we look it up? Isn't it available? I think MF.
I bought it. It's not now because I bought it.
You bought it?
Just in case. You never know.
You bought mfrdesign.com.
I'm the only MFer around,
I mean, it's just too good. Of course, the dad in me is like pumped about the amount of puns that we could throw at this thing. But you really bought it? You bought MF for Design?
I did. But then I started thinking like, would a church then come and work with me? I don't know. Oh,
that's great. They can worry about that. It's too good. It's too good not to use. Okay, well.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just Megan Fletcher.
Yeah. What your mind is in the gutter, church. What are you thinking? Yeah, that is awesome. Oh, that's great. Well, the cool thing is, I mean, we've talked about this too. Like, it's not something that has to happen. It's you, and you're at a place where you can have some freedom with that too. But I think it's more about like what is not anticipated now, which is in a few years, what if you do get to a place where like you really want to scale, or you really want to not be at the forefront of the business, and you want to sell it, or you want to, I mean, all these scenarios can happen to where it is nice to be able to break out of your name, to have your business under an entity where you're still the founder, you're the creative director, the head honcho, whatever. But, whether we tackle that sooner or later, it is really no rush, but it is easier to tackle that versus, things being really established. But the good news is, I've talked about this too. Like, most clients didn't know my business name. They just knew me as Josh, the web designer. They're like, what's his agent something studios? I don't know. So either way, it's like, it's not that big of a deal, but there's pros and cons to having like an official business name. So
yeah,
I wonder for you,
I just don't know how searchable, or even when I say design, Megan Fletcher design, I feel like maybe they're going to assume like interior design or something before they go web design.
Yeah, I don't even think, I mean, you have meganfletcher.com, so I don't even know if you necessarily need to have the business name say design, because you could always, like, you may, with your interest being in strategy and design and development, you may, strategy could be a big part of it. So I wouldn't worry about, I really wouldn't just worry about it too much, because design can cover a multitude of things, but you are definitely doing more than just design already. So
yeah, I'd love to pivot into more of like just a creative like strategy, and just helping people with just the web presence as a whole, and like just going forward, like to build a business around that, and not just like the website person. I think that would be really like the 5-year dream of like just creating something that's more about building up like I don't know, maybe if I scaled, because like even now I do logo design, and I'm noticing like I love website design, and I think that's because there's logic and there's reasons that you put things the way that you do. There's accessibility standards. There's always like a reason. It's not just because I like it. And so when I do logo design, I find that draining for me, because like I can knock it out of the park, and some of my clients are easy and we're good to go. But like some people, like I struggle with, and I think I just don't understand the way that you enjoy design. And for me, it's just like, I don't want to. I want logic.
I wanted to take a deep dive into your services real quick, because I don't know. I don't remember if you kicked off with branding and photography and logo, or if those things were added as they were needed. But I mean, is that the case where they just kind of added because clients were requesting them?
More because I would I'd design a website, and then I would have to get iPhone photos back that were terrible. That's why photography came in. And I've always wanted to do it as a hobby for like landscape and travel photography. And so it was a way to help my business, give me something fun, and just also benefit my clients by doing some web focused photography for them. And same with branding. Like if they have just terrible branding or something that's just super outdated, don't even have like an SVG of it, just being able to help them by like getting them a little bit.
I knew we were going to get into coaching territory, because I was looking at this, and mainly because of what you just said. You just said like you don't love it. I definitely, for a while, I still think it's really valuable for you, because you're going to get the questions, unless you want to just hire it off completely or hire somebody under you to do it. But I would probably just reduce those to like a hidden service and only bring them up if somebody requests it.
That's true. I don't want someone to come to me just for logo.
You don't want to be begging the logo designer. And if somebody sees design and they see logo, they may think like maybe that's what you do mainly. But if that's like, no, that's not my bread and butter, I would make that clear. I would probably just make it so when they fill out your contact form or you talk with them initially, you find out where they're at with their branding. And if they're desperate need of it, I would just have it as an add-on, like in your back pocket. Like, by the way, if we're going to do the website, you need a better logo and we need some photos, we can do that. But I probably would take it off your site. I actually feel like for you, Megan, you're probably at the point where you could focus a little more on strategy as one of your main things. You've got a year under your belt as like an official business owner, you've got several years of design experience in web as a whole. I feel like you're at the place where like initial digital strategy could almost be your other service. And then of course that's linked in with a website project, or you could sell a strategy session potentially as like paid discovery, basically, where you do what you love to do. You can talk with a business owner, talk for an hour about their goals. And obviously it's a paid service. And then that's where you could link that in next to a website design, or if somebody just wants to go right in a website, they get the strategy session as a part of it. So something to think about just based off of, I feel like you don't need logo and branding right now as a main service, at least, especially because you don't love it.
Yeah, that's true. And I just recently spun up all this stuff in Moxie. And so in that proposal that goes out, there's like optional add-ons. And so they're in there. And no one ever comes to me for just those things. So I think it would even declutter my services list to take them down. But I know some people with those want to see your work. They want to make sure you're okay at it before they like pay you to do it. So I don't know, like some hidden, maybe just hide the pages. And if they ask for it,
just hidden pages. Yeah. But you can still have your logo page, still have your photography, but it's kind of cool because it's almost like we reserve this for our clients. This is not something the public gets.
Yeah.
You got to be special to get our photography. So yeah, I really would probably have that approach. I do agree. I think it would make more sense for the services because you do website design development, care and support. And then, I would have digital strategy because digital strategy is, a part of the website design, but also it's something you could sell ongoing.
How would you work? Like, cause I use my discovery session to sell and like just get that trust with a client to like get the project sold. So how would you have like a small one where you don't get into as much?
Yeah, there's a big difference. We just talked about this with Shannon on her training she did in Pro about paid discovery. Okay. The big light bulb moment. I don't know if you've listened or watched the replay on that one yet, but the big light bulb moment for I think a lot of us was that there's a big difference between discovery and strategy. And I think those lines get blurred often.
That makes sense.
Discovery really is just like hearing about the client, where they're at. You can offer ideas and advice, but a strategy session is like, I took your ideas. It would kind of come after an initial. So if you sold a strategy session, there'd probably be either a 20 to 30 minute discovery call or a form. And then the strategy session happens because the strategy is a little more like, okay, and you're already doing this with your websites. We take where you're at, know your challenges, what you're looking to do, where your needs are for the site. And now we're going to create a plan. Now we're going to actually create like, what's the strategy for the website? What's the main call to action? What's the user experience? Like, where is your traffic coming from? Do we need lead generators? Are we selling a product? Do you just want contact form submissions? Do you just want to call? Like, that's where like the strategy comes into play. So I think all that in mind, your discovery call would be either like before a paid strategy session or before the paid website consultation. That is, the strategy is going to be a part of it. But it's basically, you're just bringing the strategy part out as its own thing, which is just so valuable. Also, it is a perfect upsell for a website audit because you could do a website audit. And then if you do strategy sessions for say $1,000, because they could be pretty intense. You're really putting your marketing expertise, your experience, your heart and soul and ideas, your IP, it's like, that's what people are getting. And then that's what you can follow up with as an upsell. And then that leads to website design. So I just love strategy sessions. That's going to be like the new big thing I'm going to start to work in my stuff in Pro and my business course is really like, that's what I would do today. Strategy sessions would be like the upsell, it would be the downsell, it would be that versatile thing that could go in and out of all of this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great because the last discovery session that I just had like a week ago, I think I spent 30 minutes just like giving him advice that wasn't even related to like how we get your website going because I was just having fun talking about it and sharing different things that I'd seen with him.
And even what you just said a little bit ago, you were talking about like we're the AI of, what did you say? We're the AI of
AI of business, how to run a business. I don't remember what I said.
Yeah, we're the AI of online business. Like you're talking about maybe you need a newsletter, or maybe you should do this, or if you're active on this, or even the conference thing, like you may suggest that clients consider doing an in-person conference and building their network. Like those are all things that could be done in a strategy session because the website is kind of the core of that. So yeah, I feel like my challenge for you now is like, I would drop logo design and branding and photography, have those as specialty services for current clients, but they need to be a paying client to get that, or it needs to be planned out. And then, I think you're ready for strategy and you're much more confident. I don't know if I would have had advised you to do this
a year ago, Megan.
Yeah.
Megan, I don't know what you should do, but good job.
Version 1.0 Megan was not rated off for strategy, but version 2.0 is. So I think I think you got the all clear to make that happen.
Yeah, it's been an awesome year. It's just so cool. Like, how many people do you actually know that go out and start a business? And so just to even have done it is pretty awesome.
It's important to remember too. I'm glad you said that, because like in pro, we're all in this together, and everyone is in different stages of their business. And, there's a lot of like-minded nature with just being an entrepreneur and being a web designer. But the reality is when we're in there, we've all taken the leap, or we're all working on the side to eventually take the leap. That's not the case in real life. I mean, in your neighborhood or in your average family gatherings. Yeah. You said it. How many people have taken the risk to start their own business? Or, some people may be business owners, but maybe it was handed off to them, or they joined a business and they rose up the ranks and then they became the CEO, but they didn't maybe start their business from nothing. Yeah.
And I even talked, with the group with Pro, the people in it it's like it's like a support group, even when you're overwhelmed with something and you send it out and like people respond, and they're just, whether it's like a technical issue, like a personal, like I just struggling, and like, it's just, what a group, and like, what amazing people. I remember when you said that I'd be on the podcast on the post, and one of the people was just, I can't wait to hear Megan. I was like, me? Like, what do I have to say? So it's really cool to like have all those people to like kind of cheerlead for you and like just support you. So many people have offered to like sit with like one-on-ones for like an hour and just like talk and like share their stuff. And it's just been, everyone just really cares about everyone succeeding in there. So it's just such a special place.
Oh, that's so awesome, Megan. And you just said something that reminded me, because I wanted to ask you about this. In DMs, when I invited you to talk about this first year and the highs and lows you've gone through and just having your best month ever, I think you mentioned, I'm trying to remember, you mentioned something like there was no magic to it. It was just like persistence and
what did I say?
Going through it. Let me look real quick. But I was like, that is the magic. And it really is. I mean, a lot of people crumble. A lot of people don't make it through the dips. I am curious, I guess we've kind of already talked about this, but what did get you through, like what helped you persevere through that?
I think Pro is super foundational in all of it, because it's the courses to teach you the things that I don't know what the heck. I can get advice from my husband, who runs like big plants with lots of money, and like I can get direction from him, but it's not what I'm doing exactly. And so I can't get advice that's super specific to me. He doesn't own the business. So there's like, yes, he does like a lot of the things, but there's not too many business owners in my life that I can consult with. So just like the community support, the courses to walk through, the coaching from you, and friendships within there, not just like the community, but like real friendships that are made in there. Obviously family support outside of that, and just believing in yourself a little bit, but then hopefully having those support groups to push you forward when you stop believing in yourself and just keep on trying. Those, like that, me and Tamara had said, just like doing those little things and making sure to like get up and do those little things every single day, even when you feel like you're falling apart.
Yeah. So I just looked, you said lessons learned in perseverance. You said have a standard story, nothing magical, but that, I mean, it really is. That's like, the reality is that, and I think this is common in the athletic world. I mean, anyone who does something legit and awesome, they've gone through hardships. Otherwise it's not a cool story. Like no successful person's like, I just started my business. Everything was fine. Great. Every month was up and to the right. No big deal. And then you're like, then it's boring. It doesn't feel real. Obviously we know that's not the case. So it really is. I just more and more from like a psychology standpoint, I'm fascinated more and more about people who stick with it, which is why I was so excited to talk to you and to see you on the other side of this.
It's cool to even just share it and talk about it. Cause like it did feel kind of like a standard story of starting a business. Like you have some good stuff, you got some bad stuff, and you just got to keep working through it all. And I mean, sometimes you see like the highlights of people who just like knock something out, like get 10K super fast. And you're just like, holy smokes, and like to take like a whole year to like get to a month that was really big and like actually gave me a glimmer of like, okay, maybe 6 figures isn't like out of the question. It was really great to like finally get there after just like having a normal business year and just to continue to persevere, like when you feel like you're struggling. But yeah, having the community support and just making sure to believe in yourself a little bit, just even a little bit.
Tell me real quick, what was your commitment level when you started? This is another thing that I've seen with people who make it is like, whether it's verbally, whether they're like shouting affirmations in the mirror, or whether they're just like thinking like, I'm doing this, it's going out. What did you have that, or did you not have like a commitment level?
I think I was cautious. I think I said, I will do cautious. I think commitment. I even said it to you in the first email. Like I really want to try this and maybe learn some JavaScript and things on the side so I could go back and do software engineering for website design. Like if I can't make this work, like that was like my first, like cautiously optimistic idea. Like I will do this, but with like a fallback plan. But then pretty early on, I think, Ben or Mark joined just shortly after me and were like, just like on fire and like talking about how their goals. And I was like, well, shoot, like my goal is so like pathetic. Like I said, $1,000 a month. And like, so just, it kind of shifted a little bit and be like, and something you had said, I wish I could remember, but it was just, about like joining the group, even just as much as you put into this is what you're going to get out of it. So I've always tried to remember like, connecting with these people isn't going to happen without me posting. And so even like when I get busy and don't get in for a little while, like I try and like, when I get like the time, like to get back in there and start like responding to different things and like talking to people and stuff. And so I think it's true for pro and it's true for the business. Like as much as you're going to put into it is what you're going to get back from it.
Man, sage advice here. Wisdom. Absolute wisdom. So yeah, same with clients too, right? Like the more you contact them and follow up with them, the more.
That was a really hard lesson for me because I was so nervous to bother my clients and learning that it's not, you said it in your courses, but I was still like, I don't want to bug them. And like, but now it's like, it's really important at least once a week that I check in and say like, here's where I am. And like, they know, or like, hey, did you see this? Just making sure to like, I'm not bothering them. Everyone is so busy that they might've seen it and like glazed by it. And like, it's still in the back of their brain and I just need to bring it back forward. But like, putting into the clients as much as you do too. I kind of figured for a little while they're like, they just give me the stuff. I'll do mine quietly over here and then I'll give it back to you. But it's like a partnership with them.
Yeah. Well, Megan, gosh, this has been awesome. I'm so happy. Again, I can't reiterate enough. I'm so pumped for you. So awesome. Again, I knew you could do it. You just had to stick with it. So to see you stick with it, that's where the magic was. So excited to meet you here soon in person. We're going to have our pro event and even more so. I mean, we're going to take all this to the next level as a group to really support each other in a whole different way. So yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so cool. I'm kind of curious. Last question. Actually, before I ask you a final question, for those who want to check your site out, check your socials out, where should everyone go?
So my website,
does mford.com forward?
I should just forward it now. I'll go.
Get a lot of my traffic has exploded. Where is all this traffic coming from?
So it's meganfletcher.com. The plain Jane Megan, nothing fancy in it. And then my socials are Fletching Creative, which is like my last name with ing instead.
Got it. And we'll have all that linked in the show notes. But so real quick, I'm kind of curious. You're in a swamp season right now. We've been talking about scaling and what to do in this season. But what is have you thought about vision at all over the next, like now that you've passed the first year is often the hardest year in most cases, one of them typically. Have you thought about like what you want things to look like for the next year or 2 or 3? Or are you just focused on just getting out of the pile of projects and work you got going right now?
I think from what I've learned last year is like you always have to kind of think about it, even if you feel overwhelmed. So I think like yesterday in my mind, I was like, I really need to tighten things up. That's my goal right now. And like still allocating time to do all the things, all the business ideas and the road mapping and making sure to get back on that. And then it's probably scaling a little bit, trying to offload some of the pieces that I don't enjoy doing. I think I'd love to get like a VA to help me with maybe some of the admin work and, collecting information from clients or things like that. That I think the big fear in there that I need to decouple from is loss of profit by having to pay someone else to do work. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Awesome. Scale your way time. I also have a couple resources for VAs for you that I'll send after this.
Awesome.
Obviously it's in the scaling course, but I have a couple new ones as well. I had a call before this with another pro member who has it's a mom. It's like specific to moms that are VAs who can't work or don't want to work a 9 to 5 as moms. So they want to work in the evenings and occasionally and that's perfect. So I'll send you that site.
That'd be great.
But the really cool thing, real quick on the profit thing, it's like, and you're just hitting all the common struggles at every stage. I was there. Everyone's been there. What you'll realize is like, you will get back bandwidth, sanity, joy, love. Yes, you'll pay more, but you'll make a lot more because you'll have more time back. And then I think you'll find too, you from the get-go, you joined pro, which told me you're serious about this as a business, and you kind of you were able to share some of these burdens in a community, not saying that you were like venting, but when you're in a community, you see other problems and you don't feel alone is what I'm trying to say. But I think when you add somebody to your business, even in a contractor role, you really feel like the weight is lifted off your shoulders because everything's not on Megan. It's like, now it's on us. And it feels a little like, okay, doesn't feel as like you don't take.
And I think it's needed because our family is actually going through adoption, which I know I had mentioned a long time ago when I started. And, we're still in the midst of all like the unknown timetables. But we are matched with a child and, we don't know. So everything takes forever, which is just exhausting. But when I have to go down in country and I don't know how long I'm going to be there for, like having someone to like hold down the fort a little bit is going to be so needed.
Good point. Yeah. Did you happen to check out the recent podcast with Sandy and Alexis?
I did.
On scaling,
I listened in on that.
That's just a really good example of like a Sandy. I mean, it's so funny. I feel like I'm talking to Sandy from 2 years ago. She had literally the exact same thing to say. But yeah, you're right. Like you do need to prepare for that, whether it's an anticipated family change or if someone's, expecting or if there's a ill parent that you're taking care of, whatever. Like these things are sometimes anticipated or unexpected completely. And I can't recommend enough that you take that to heart. At least getting someone going now that starts to know your business. I think probably a junior designer would be really helpful too. Sometimes that could be the VA as well, or it may be a junior designer to help. Like you do the strategy, the initial design, they carry on with the ongoing updates and fulfillment.
That's true. Subpage design is always my least favorite. I'm like, I already did the best one, Yep.
I'm a homepage guy, and then everything else, somebody else do it. Yep, totally agree. Yeah. So, well, Megan, I'm so pumped for you. Again, congrats. Awesome first year. Let's freaking go. Year 2. Let's get through some of the scaling stuff, firm up those systems, a little bit of boundary work and communication work, and then I can't wait for round 2. Let's have you back on, Megan version 3.0 and
heck yeah.
see where things are at.
Awesome.
She's going to be wild.
She's going to be crazy.
Your mic is great though, by the way. You're already legit. You got the little mic was awesome. That's like a perfect.
I got it for all the social media stuff I was attempting. So, and it plugs into my camera. So, and I just tried it. I was like, I know it's for my phone and I know it's for my camera. And it's got the little USB, the new one, USB-C.
What is that? What is that mic?
It's the DJI Mini, and it comes with, I got the little case, little infomercial here. It comes with like another mic too. So you could have 2 people on mics, and it's super reasonably priced, and you don't have to, like when I got the podcast mic, I didn't realize you had to have all the other stuff. So I thought, I'm spending $100 on this mic for my husband. Like, this is going to be awesome. Like, oh, you got to spend like a couple more $100 to make it work.
Oh my gosh. I might get that for the event because Jason, we're going to do like a mock-up, like a mock sales call. Jason's going to like show his sales call process, and I'm going to be the lead. I might even get like a fake mustache or something. I'm trying to think.
Come in with like a trench coat and a hat or something.
A mullet, a blonde mullet. That's going to be my lead outfit for our event. But yeah, like that could be perfect having the 2 mic. Okay, thank you. Learned something today myself. I'm going to check that out. All right, Megan. Well, I'm going to let you go. We got stuff to do, but this has been awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I know this is going to help a lot of folks. So keep at it.
This is cool. It was even a confidence boost for me. Like, I'm on the podcast.
You've made it. I made it. All downhill from here. This is the top it gets. No,
it peaked.
It peaked right here. Pumped for you, Megan. Keep at it.
Cool. Thank you so much.
So much goodness, so much gold, all wrapped up in less than 1 year of building her web design business. Megan really has done an incredible job. I'm so proud to have her as a member of Web Designer Pro and to oversee her and to see what she's done. So year number 2, here we come, on track for a 6-figure business. Let's freaking go, as the kids say these days. So a big thanks to Megan for sharing everything she's learned here. Hope it helps you. Again, her website is meganfletcher.com or maybe mfr.com by the time this comes out. We just have to do that. It's so good. And you can find the show notes that we talked about. All the links and everything we talked about are going to be at the show notes page, which will be at joshhall.co/377. Hope you enjoyed this one, friends. Leave us a comment, connect with Megan, and I can't wait to hear how this one helps you in your first year in business or just in your web design business in general. Good stuff. All right, guys, I will see you on the next episode.